Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is December 22nd, 2021, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Bitcoin strengthening and gaining. But we're first going to take a look at the other markets. So looking at the major economic events of the day, nothing scheduled. And as we look at the various markets, there's a lot of low activity, low volume activity as we're nearing Christmas time. And so starting out with the Forex symbols, major pairs pretty much really unchanged. It's almost watching paint dry, okay? That is as unchanged as it gets. Now looking at the indices, Dow Jones and the NASDAQ continue bouncing and some activity there. And looking at commodities, gold unchanged while oil gains slightly. Now, it's the tech stocks that lift the markets yesterday, the Microsoft, the FANG stocks. We're going to take a look at that. And lastly, Bitcoin gaining above 49,000. So it does look like it's gaining some momentum. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So I really don't want to cover this, but I'm going to cover this anyway, just because that's what we do. We cover the Forex symbols. But look at that. I mean, that is really flatlining as flatlining can be. Look at that, where this is really very, very tight activity on a 4-hour chart. So this takes us all the way back to November 29th, and we're now on December 21st. Okay, so we've been in a less than a 70 pip range for over a month. Okay, looking at the Euro USD. Let's look at it daily. You could see that a little bit clearer as this consolidates in this area. Now, it might actually fall further down, but for right now, it's not. So you got to just treat it as it is. Now, looking at the Gbp Usd, same story, really trading in a really tight range as it's consolidating here at the bottom range, and looking at the Aussie USD also consolidating here, not on its dead lows, but still consolidating near its lows. So this is the inactivity activity that is happening in the Forex symbols as we close up 2021. Now, looking at the commodities, first looking at gold, also pretty much unchanged, 1786, very tight, between 1804, it's about 20 points. Looking at oil, though, we did get a little bit of a perk and a further push on the upside, but we are nearing our upper limit here at 72.40, so just keep that in mind as this actually centers. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, this is where it gets interesting. Yesterday and the previous day, over the past couple of days, since we had this massive sell-off from last Wednesday, Thursday, of selling off over 1,300 points, we've gained back almost 700 points here. So that's a halfway mark. That is generally what happens with the markets, right? It tanks about a half. It tanks about, let's say, 1,000, and then you get a bounce for about 50% of that. So you get 500. In this case, it was about 1,300 points that we sold off. So 650 points that we bounced. And that's where we are right now. Okay, so, with that said, we still could rally into the end of the year. Okay, now that's really going to be backed up by the stocks as we've seen them gain some momentum. Looking at the NASDAQ, also gaining some momentum here at 15,959, just shy of its 16,000. So looking at the individual stocks, Apple gained yesterday and above its 30-day moving average on a 1-hour chart. Looking at its 4-hour chart, nice little breakup there, 171.94. So that's promising. Looking at Facebook also did gain, but it's still trading in relatively a tight range. Okay. However, looking at Microsoft, also gained yesterday and pushed above that 8-day moving average. If it pushes above that 30-day moving average, I'd be much more comfortable. Okay. But it has pushed up nonetheless. Looking at Tesla, did break its 8-day moving average yesterday as well on a 4-hour chart. So you see that the stocks are gaining some momentum and gaining some strength. And I'd like to see that continue going into the end of the year, right? So Christmas is this Saturday and New Year's is next week on Friday night. So with that said, I am hoping that we do get this end of the year rally. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin gaining some steam here at 49,000 after consolidating at between 46 and 48,000. Okay. Now we're not out of the woods yet. We're still at the upper limit here, but we're above 47, 48,000. Okay. So we're closer to that range where I feel that if we do break above this 50K, then we could see ourselves back somewhere closer to the 60K, okay? Just because the volatility is there for us. But just remember, we're lighter volume trading environment right now just because of the holidays. So things could be pushed much easier, much quicker. So keep that in mind. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.